Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Some positive news to discuss today with the new CDL jerseys being released, at least for some of the teams, but also Shotzzy explaining just how Crimsix managed to go from the best teammate he's ever had in the Modern Warfare season to the worst ever in Cold War, and just why he seems to hate Rambo now more than any other coach has ever had. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. This I thought was quality from Genesis yesterday. US versus England in a few days. It's going to be a fun time. Let's talk about these jerseys then. Los Angeles Guerrillas, their Pro Kit jersey. This is the best of the lot that I've seen so far for sure. This is, really cool stuff. Yes, the in-game CDL stuff is not quite what we have in real life, but finally the CDL have said, you know what teams, you can actually make your own jerseys. This is a really good thing because the last few years it's not been pretty. The cookie cutter ones, they make the same design, different colors, different logo, like it is what it is. This is really good from LAG. I really like the look of it. This is Boston's one. Okay, Boston's one. This was last year's one. Now it looks like this. Some are saying, you know what, maybe it's worse than last year's. I think they could have done more with this, to be perfectly honest. But look, nonetheless, it's pretty cool that at least the teams have their chance to, at least to a certain degree, show some personality within their team, within their organization. And this is Minnesota Rokkr's one. I'll show you guys the better images here in a second because it's actually kind of tough to see what they look like in these kind of promotional videos they do. But nonetheless, it's good that it exists. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of them over time as well. This is the LAG one, which I think is just the best one of the lot, to be honest, that we have seen so far. And yeah, just good stuff all around. This, I believe, was the guy that designed it wearing it. It actually looks kind of really nice when you can see the whole thing as well. So yeah, this is the LAG jersey they've got for the upcoming season. The other teams are going to come up with theirs over the coming days as well. And this is what the teams want to do. That's the funny thing to me. Like, the CDL has been, you know what, we'll take care of it, guys. Don't worry about it. We're going to make these just really boring jerseys that nobody really is particularly excited about. And it takes more, like, it takes effort away from the CDL, and the teams want to do it. It's just a win-win. It's the same with the camos in the game and with the team, you know, outfits in the game. It's like the teams would happily design those for you, take that effort away from the plate of the designers that actually do this year on year anyway, and, you know, it saves them effort and it's better for the team. So hopefully this is just one step in towards that direction. But this is a good one from LAG. These are the other ones as well. This is the Boston one. I really think they could have gone for more like of like a glitch effect or just something else happening here on this jersey compared to what they actually have. Maybe that's just my opinion. I think the Rokkr one is better than it looks in fairness in this image. I don't know, like, it doesn't look great in this particular image, but when it's on, I think it actually looks better than it does there. And then the LAG one's just kind of nice. That is all we have so far. Question to me was, what are Vegas Legion going to do? Because we know that, as I say, the teams love to put the effort into this. They love to design their own stuff. But, you know, do Vegas Legion like to design their own stuff? This actually came up from Jaden, one of the guys at New York, and he puts a tier list here. And I was wondering, he says in the replies it's not to do with the jerseys, but I was wondering, okay, is it potentially the jersey designs, like the tier list of them this season? Because I'm sure that LA Thieves are going to do a fire job of that as well. But he has Vegas here or Legion in the A tier, and I was like, there's no way that Vegas are going to design an A tier jersey. And we get some implications to that from Clayster. Now, you guys might have noticed that last season, maybe it was, yeah, was it last season or the year before? I think it was just last year, where the New York jersey that they had basically had like electrical tape on it, right? It had tape over one of the sponsors. And as Clay said, actually excited I don't have to wear a generic jersey all year, or one with this black tape on it all season long. So, and he actually explains why that was the case, right? As he says here, New York had a deal in the work with DraftKings, and I thought that it was potentially a deal where DraftKings wasn't allowed to be on the CDL broadcast, or there was some sort of conflict there. Apparently the deal never fully went through, and therefore the deal stalled, and they printed it on the jerseys already because they thought it was going to go through. It didn't, and then they had to just cover it up all season because, you know, the deal fell through eventually. So a bit of a disaster class there from the subliners. Maybe it was actually Cold War season, but whatever. At least it's not a generic jersey. It's not a jersey with a black tape on it, apparently, for Clayster, but it might not be all that good. CDL Scrim Intel spotted a comment here from Clayster on the subreddit where, you know, Long-Chumming Plant says, these were nice. I can't wait to see how much effort Vegas puts into theirs. And Clay says, hey, ours are jerseys. They are certainly jerseys. So we'll see what Vegas have come up with over the coming days here, because I'm certainly looking forward to what they've managed to muster up, and it might not be particularly spectacular. One other good piece of news to note on the day is this. On December the 3rd, the first match, I believe, of Toronto Ultra's season versus the Minnesota Rokkr, they are going to play live in the headquarters that they have in Toronto, of course, at the Red Bull Canada Gaming Studio or whatever. And you can actually go and watch this event in person. This is really cool. And we saw the Minnesota Rokkr were kind of the first team that did this, right? They've actually said that for a couple of their weekends of matches, I think maybe 4 matches over the season on 2 separate days or weekends, they're going to basically do that in person, have fans in the venue, bring the other teams out there live to Minnesota or whatever to actually play these matches in person on LAN for their online matches. The CDL's like, yes, now if you guys want to organize it and pay for it, we're quite happy for you to play these online qualification matches on LAN and fly the other team out there. Toronto haven't quite done this, but this is like a nice middle ground, I think, for the fans, in that, you know, why not play their matches online still against the other teams? Don't necessarily fly out the other team. It might be a bit of an effort. Obviously, it's nicer to do it in LAN in person, but, you know, is there still kind of some interest in watching your team play in person, even though they're just playing online and the other team isn't there? Like, I think it's kind of an interesting idea, right? I think, honestly, if Thieves did this, or if OpTic did this, right? Let's say OpTic went to the, you know, the Arlington event in Texas or whatever, that stadium there, and there was no team on the other side of the station. They're just playing online, but they're playing from their stations on LAN in front of a crowd. Like, with, you know, it would be pretty interesting, right, to actually see that in person. Obviously, it's not quite as same as a LAN event, but it's still something interesting for the fans. I'm sure people would still want to go and watch them play in person, even if the other team isn't there. Kind of get what I'm saying. So Toronto are kind of the first team to do this idea, where for December the 3rd, people are going to be able to attend in Toronto in person to see them play, even though the other team isn't there. So, don't know, interesting one. I thought it was a cool idea, and just spices up a little bit these online matches that are getting kind of tiresome over the last few years, to be perfectly honest. Now let's talk about the movement as we dive into the Shotzzy thing, because, yeah, we've seen Doug Martin and others say, you know what, we've got to get rid of some of these, you know, dolphin hop glitches, and this is a new one. This is, you know, what people are now calling the G-Walk. So you guys remember the G-Slide from back in Black Ops 3, G-Slide or whatever Nature used to say. But, yeah, basically you can, I don't even know what's going on here. You can crouch, it's almost like you're snaking, right? You're just going prone and then sprinting forwards. I don't even exactly know how to do this, but, I mean, look at this guy. He's running around like a gorilla. It's actually outrageous. So I don't really know what even is going on here, how this new patch update managed to ruin this type of stuff, but you might see pros running around like this if it doesn't get stopped or GA'd. So it's actually kind of crazy to watch that guy right there on Fortress when he jumps out the window and hits the dolphin hop, because, yeah, it doesn't look too much like a boots on the ground game when the players are doing that. Therefore, maybe it's got to be fixed. I don't know what's happening, whether Shotzzy is going to be on top of this or all the other pros are going to be on top of this very soon indeed with the G-Walk before presumably Infinity Ward fix it. But it's annoying seeing these issues, because I'm sure, you know, the attention of the devs is now going to go to fixing the G-Walk or whatever, as opposed to actually making custom games playable and putting the CDL rule set back. But we shall see about that one. Now, I wanted to talk about this Shotzzy Crimsix thing, because Crim, of course, retired this past season, and yeah, it was kind of a quick downhill trajectory for Crim's career. It was looking so good through even part of Black Ops 4, then there was the drama with Scump and the OpTic guys, then went on to the Dallas Empire with a new young team, played great at the World Championship, got the World Championship MVP in 2020, won it, of course, with, you know, iLLeY, Huke and Shotzzy, the next stars of the future, right? And then it went to 4v4, and that was where things kind of went wrong, because Clayster then was forced to leave because it went to 4v4, and then the team next season with Crim didn't go so well in Cold War, right? And Shotzzy explains here in this clip, really, how it went downhill so quickly. And also we know the relationship between Crim and Ray, that being Rambo Ray, the coaching staff of OpTic now, is not the best, right? We've seen pretty much that when the OpTic Texas merger occurred, there was, I don't know if it was Rambo or if it was Shotzzy or iLLeY or whoever, but there was basically a veto, right, in terms of Crimsix joining, because they could have theoretically, and I think there was some consideration from Scump to say, you know what, Scump and Crim, let's get back together as that duo there. Scump can be one of the SMGs, it can be Crim and iLLeY as the ARs, Scump and Shotzzy as the SMGs. That was a possibility, but the team was like, no, we don't want to play with Crim again. Like, he was just such a bad teammate in Cold War and Dallas Empire that it's just not going to happen. And obviously his relationship with Rambo Ray broke down that year as well on Dallas, and largely because he was late a lot of the time, and there are a few reasons why Crim was not having a good time in that team, despite the fact that the season before, Crim was instrumental to kind of unlocking Shotzi's performance, right? At the start of the season, Shotzzy, you know, what was they calling Botsy or whatever, right, after he had a couple of bad events, and then Crim, and obviously Clay as well to a certain extent, were kind of critical in unlocking Shotzi's potential, making him the player that he is today, and Shotzi's very thankful for what Crimsix taught him and the way that he kind of carries himself as a teammate. But it's interesting to know that Crim went from being, in Shotzi's eyes, the best teammate he's ever had one season, to the very next year being by far the worst teammate he's ever had, hands down.
Worst teammate ever. The worst teammate is definitely Crim, but I will say this. Let me gas Crim, because in MW, this guy was literally the best teammate. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd probably put Porter as the best teammate I've ever had for that year. Or like, I don't really know how to categorize it, dude. Bro, that year he was such a good teammate. Mark, like, dude, you don't understand. We literally lost the kickoff. I just remember him gassing us. Like, he said he was, like, proud of us. I don't know. Ray's kind of like a coach where, like, he'll, after a map, he'll kind of discuss, like, what happened, et cetera, et cetera. But Porter was more of, like, he would, like, for it to come out of his mouth, I guess you could say. And, like, just because, like, he's playing the game like that and Ray's watching. I'm not really sure if Porter put it like that. I'm pretty sure he did at one point. But anyways, like, I don't know. Like, Porter and Ray would always bump heads in terms of that, like, the way to play the game and like that. Like, if Porter was like, no, we need to do this, and then Ray countered him and said, no, like, I disagree with you. We should do this. And, like, I don't know. I think that would trigger Porter. But that's probably, like, the main reason why Porter hates Ray. Just because, like, they butt heads a lot. I don't know. The vibe just felt so off, bro. So, like, we just felt like something had to be done.
So you do have to wonder here whether the whole Clayster question was an interesting one, right? Because Clay was there that one season where Crim was the best teammate. Next season, it's Crim on his own trying to lead these younger guys, and then it all goes wrong very quickly indeed. It's kind of weird, right? Because from that moment, after he won Champs in 2020, to think that Crim has retired 2 seasons later, largely because he's been forced out of the scene, because in part, people won't team with him that he wants to team with, and a lot of his relationships with the younger players broke down over the last couple of years, and therefore, like, he kind of got forced out of the scene to a certain degree. From being where he was in 2020 to that is kind of crazy, but yeah, I guess that one season kind of set the tone in 2021 in Cold War, when Shotzzy and iLLeY and Huke obviously were like, yeah, not happy with this anymore, definitely don't want to team with Porter again, and Rambo was the same way. His career could be going to the present day if he didn't have that kind of bad season from an individual teammate perspective in Cold War, and that's what Shotzy's getting at. Couple of things to close out the video here with on the M4 GA discussion. Surprising to some that the M4 hasn't been banned yet by the pros. Some still haven't been really practicing over the last few days though, but as Bance confirms, GA the M4 is still top of his list. Now Slasher has this opinion. What were the votes like in that chat? So Slasher doesn't reckon, at least, that he's involved in these kind of GA chat discussions any longer. I'm surprised that you guys have kept it this long. From the ratio of ARs to SMGs, I'm guessing it's heavily in favour to keep the gun in, he reckons. So there were some rumours the other day that kind of 7 or 8 potentially, at least 8 maybe actually, of the pro teams want the M4 gone, but because they don't have an overwhelming majority with 2, 3, 4 teams holding out against it, that nothing's changing. And I imagine that probably Vegas Legion right now, having a good time in the meta, are probably on board with that, as might be Toronto or whoever else is an AR focused team, I guess. Now, whether Minnesota feel the same way is interesting. They do have a Tatch and Cammy in fairness, but as Slasher says, yeah, but they submit their team's vote. I'm hearing rumours Minnesota wants to keep it, so might have to get that camp in order. Of course, Bance on the Minnesota Rokkr as well. So pretty spicy stuff, I thought there. They will continue to debate this, I'm sure, until, well, for quite some time to come. And just to mention this, I thought was remarkable, talking of Attach and Slasher, from Brian Stats here, their 10th pro season each. These are their careers. Remarkable how similar they are. 67 events to 71, 8 championships for Slasher, 7 for Attach, average placing about the same, games won in, Slasher's won in 5 different titles, Attach in 4, and they've got 1 world championship ring. So in terms of kind of career legacy, incredibly similar between the pair of them. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.